Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman Podcast, where I sit down with fabulous people to have go-in conversations. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I have the one and only, Tony Foster Jr.
What's happening, man?
Come on.
Yeah,
Now, Tony, when did we first meet?
Me and you had to have first been acquainted at one of the several events, and it was like 3 weekends in a row I would see you somewhere, and so I don't know if it was at a Creative Mornings or if it was at a JB Likes Food. Or if it was at, I know when Hope Culture did their launch, I saw you there too. Yeah. Like, that was all within the same month, 2 or 3 week period. So one of those times, man, you was greeting with a smiling face. I said, "Who is this brother, man? I keep seeing him. I need to know who this is, man."
Yeah, and we want to be clear. Like, I wasn't invited to the party like Tony was invited to the party. I was greeting. I was outside the doors, loving on folks, right?
You had a more important role for sure.
That was not where I was going with that.
You were the greatest among us in those times.
No, but yeah. And so one of the reasons that I greet, and the reason I brought that up was because I thought it was through me greeting at events the way that I did. I love to meet people, and once I meet people, I love to try to connect people once I figure out their strengths or talents and things like that. And one of the easiest ways to get to an event is just by saying, "Hey, you want me to come and greet at your event?" People are like, "What? Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah.
You want to greet? Yeah, I come greet at your event." And from it, I always tell people, they be like, "How'd you meet that?" I was like, "I think I met that person through greeting." And so, so I met you and your beautiful wife. You want to go ahead and introduce your wife?
Yeah,
who's in the room with us? If you're listening to audio and video, you can't see her either. She's right over there.
Yeah, it's Jackie Jo, my right hand. So, I mean, she's the one that knows about these events. She's the cool one. Like, if I'm ever anywhere cool, it's because somebody invited her and I got to come. So that was probably the case for all of those events back at that time, man. She's been plugging me in ever since we met. So that's exciting.
We got to help people like that who know how to plug us into things, especially when we got dreams and goals and want to accomplish things. Because for me, I always tell people it's all about relationships. If there's anything I want to be rich in, I want to be rich in relationships. So with that being said, let's talk about if people came into the room today who knew you as a child, and I said, "Man, tell me about Tony as a kid. What was he like? What would they say about you?"
It depends on who you would
ask.
But man, I would honestly say that the commonality among people who knew me as a child was that I was very observant. Man, I had a knack for really taking in information, whether it was the things I would hear. Like when I was young, I used to love mimicking things and trying to do impressions and imitations. And then also I just was always paying attention to my surroundings and just trying to see what was what. And so one thing I can remember really early is when my dad and my brother would be in the car, we'd leave a place, say we were leaving church, and he'd say, "All right, it's 1:35 right now. What time do you think it'll be by when we get home?" And we'd take bets. I'd be like, 1:37. My brother would be like, 1:36. He'd be like, "All right, I'm gonna go 1:38." So we would just I would always be paying attention to how long it took to get places and which direction we go. And I'd be thinking, man, we should have gone this way. And that has followed me well into my adulthood, because everywhere I go, man, even if I go visit a new city, the first thing I want to do is look at a map and see which direction are we staying in, what's nearby, what's close by. So, I mean, that's just always kind of been how I was, as a kid, just paying attention to what was going on and just seeing what's around me.
Now, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Oklahoma City.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to class in SAS.
Oh, got you. Okay. So can we talk about transition? I love to get transition. So I love to find out what people were like as kids. Then I love to get transition. And so can we talk about, because class in SSA it was 6th grade, right? When you go into
Yeah,
that
so SAS is 6th through 12th grade.
6th through 12th. So there's no real transition of middle school to high school for you? Or was there?
I mean, actually, there really was, simply because, like you declare a major at Classen, and so from 6th grade all the way through 12th, you've got like a curriculum or like a practicum. So for me, I was a vocal music major, so there were choirs. We were in show choir, boys choir, and then so like in middle school, everything was pretty well separated on the music side, different wings of the building, and so I was able to really just like thrive in kind of a middle school setting. But when high school came, gosh, I mean, I grew, 4 inches over the summer, and football coach is trying to figure out.
from like 8th to 9th, or what was
Yeah.
the train? Okay, from 8th
Yeah,
to 9th grade,
right.
you shot up a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay,
from 8th to 9th, I mean, I was kind of a chubby middle schooler, and I kind of grew into like a rectangle shaped young man.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
guys are looking at me like, man, you might need to go push something down.
yeah.
You might need to go try and drive a sled somewhere. So, but yeah, we didn't have a football team, so we played at Northeast Academy.
Okay,
And so, gosh, from 8th grade, I didn't play any football, to 9th grade, not only playing varsity football, but playing at a totally different school than where I went. I took the bus to practice every day after school, and it was kind of, I wouldn't say hard, but it was different, like gelling with the other players, because they all had classes together and went to school together. But I was kind of on the outside looking in, and I mean, I was big, and I was a fast learner, so I got on the field pretty quick. And man, one thing I can remember is they had a pep rally for like homecoming, right? And we decided, me and the 2 other players that went to Classen but played for Northeast, decided we'll go to the pep rally, be with the team, have a good day with the team. And man, I get in the gym, and everybody's out of class. They're all at the pep rally.
Yeah.
Right? And they're announcing, "All right, here are the starters for Northeast Vikings." Everybody's like, "Yeah!" And he's like, number 70. He's a sophomore. Roderick Thomas. Everybody's like, "Yeah!" It's like senior. VR Ortiz, yeah. Anthony Walker, yeah. And they're like, Foster. The whole auditorium was just like,
who?
I was like, all right, y'all. Hey,
Yeah.
it's your boy.
In what grade were you?
9th.
9th. That is not a good look for a freshman.
Man, nah, your boy was out there like, "Hey, everybody, Foster here."
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like the head coach didn't even know my name, because
Yeah.
he was just like, what? I know his name. I can't think.
Yeah.
Foster. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
Everybody got these crazy glowing intros, and
Yours was like,
it's like, what's his name? Foster. So, I mean, just like going from middle school, being kind of relatively quiet and just being able to be to myself.
yeah.
And then high school, like I'm playing varsity football. We had a workshop over the summer, like a gospel music workshop. So all the singers in the city, were all at this workshop. And I got a solo at that workshop. And so I remember being in the lunch line, like one of the first days of school, and a couple of like the older, like upperclassmen girls that were there, they were like, "That's him right there." I was like, "Oh, yeah, you was the one that was at the workshop." I was like, "Yeah." So they was like, "You about to join the gospel choir? We about to get
nice.
you all the way
Nice.
locked in." So, I mean, that was kind of a big like moment of just like realizing, okay, so I can't like have these gifts and have these talents and kind of hide under a rock. Like people are gonna draw them out, and they're gonna want to see them. And so I kind of adopted that attitude. I mean, throughout high school. And just knew like, it's up to me to lead. Nobody's gonna do it if I don't do it.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of accepted that role of just being, the pioneer, the first person to figure something out or to do something or to ask this question.
Yeah.
And I kind of I enjoyed being that.
So that kind of took you into leadership then.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brene Brown talks about leadership being a person who takes on responsibility and I always say this, so I'm more lean towards John Maxwell, who says leadership is about influence, right?
Yeah, for
sure. A couple of different things, but I would agree with both because but you said, hey, I see some responsibility. I want to take ownership of that and do it well. And you saw that in high school. What was the transition out of high school like for you? Did you go to college? What was that?
Yeah, I ended up getting a scholarship, music scholarship to go to OU. And I mean, my senior years, it was me, my dad, and my brother. And he was single father, and his time was pretty well, extended and stretched. And his health was kind of becoming an issue, so he was he was a lot less active. Like we couldn't do much unless we found a way to get it done. So if I wanted to play football, I had to get a ride to and from practice. Like if I wanted to have money, I had to get a job, and I had to figure out how I was going to get to and from work. Like we lived off 122nd and Penn in that it's like a big cluster of really hood apartments.
Yeah, 122nd and Penn?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Especially back then, early 2000s.
I lived in Rain Dance.
Okay, yeah.
But I lived in Rain Dance in 1990 something.
Yeah. By the time 02 to about 05, 06.
You said it was not the same.
Ooh, man. I mean, good Lord. But so like I would walk to and from work because I worked at the Gordmans by Quail Springs Mall, and so I had to get a bank account if I wanted to deposit my check.
Yeah.
I had to go to U.S. Cellular when I turned 18 and get a cell phone.
Yeah.
I had to find a ride to my audition for college, and so I had kind of grown accustomed to like figuring out ways to get stuff done without having to ask for help. And so, I mean, I feel like that period just kind of worked its way into my natural way of doing things. Because the day that I moved in on campus, my dad had suffered a stroke about a week and a half before then. And so the day that I moved in on campus, he went in for surgery and he passed away during that surgery.
Wow.
And so, like he was our parent at home. So I quite literally, like closed the book on, my adolescence, my youth, and then opened the book of adulthood, in a day. Mm-hmm. It was really wild. I mean,
but you had already been like preparing yourself for that moment. Like when I listened to the things that you just talked about leading up to that day, God was already kind of shaping you for those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And now that I hear you say these things, now I can see the type A had to be, that I'm going to take responsibility, because if not, you
just
sink.
miss it.
Yeah.
You're missing it all.
Yeah.
Watching everybody else do it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I got tired of watching people do stuff and feeling like, man, I want to do that too. So I had to just figure out how to get it done. And so,
now here's a crazy question.
Yeah.
Let's put, and hopefully we can come back. Sometimes you start a conversation, but I want to ask you this, because you're an observant person, right? You observe. Did you recognize any difference between the kids that you saw with single moms versus you having a single dad?
Oh yeah.
Like what was something that you may have recognized? Like, man, that's a single mom guy. I'm a single.
Well, I mean, all of my best friends in high school. I mean, my boy Michael Preston, single mom. My boy Cameron Lee, single mom. Jordan Williams, he was adopted, single mom.
Adopted single mom.
He was adopted and his mom was single.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. That's what,
And my boy Tristan, single mom as well. It's funny because the five of us decided, well, Cameron wasn't there, but the four of us, me, Jordan, Tristan, and Michael, decided our senior year we wanted to go on like a spring break trip. And so all of their parents were like, heck no. Just all their moms. We were like, we want to go to South Padre.
Yes,
we want to go to Padre.
We want to make that 14-hour drive.
Yeah,
right?
man. We wanted to do it. And so my dad was like,
yeah.
He was like, let them do it.
Yeah.
Let them see. And man, we took the Greyhound bus. I mean, it was a 24-hour bus ride, bro. We did that all wrong. Like he was like, oh, y'all gonna ride the bus? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, y'all got a hotel? Y'all got it all planned out, huh? Okay. Have fun. And he convinced all of their moms to let us go. And I mean, like we learned some valuable lessons on that trip. And it's like,
would you do it again?
At that age, I mean, I definitely would have like figured out travel a little bit more because that day long bus ride, man, like
Yeah.
we had a 5-hour layover in Dallas, a 6-hour layover in Houston.
Yeah.
We at one point I looked up and I saw nothing but my Mexican homies all around, and I was like, "Are we still in the States? Are we?" I was looking out the window like, I was like, "Yo." Bro, I thought we was on the way to. I thought we was, yo. I was like, the driver is even. I don't even know if anybody speak English on this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man. But then we got where we were supposed to go, and I was like, okay, cool, all right.
Once you got there, right? You made it.
You're right.
You recognize you're still in the States. Everything's gonna be okay. Not to say that things would have not been okay anyway, right?
I mean,
But,
I don't know.
Like
man.
once you're there, did y'all enjoy yourself? Like, did you? Kick
Oh
it?
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
did. I mean, I was still 17, so I wasn't old enough to get into any club. But there was still like this huge like beach
yeah.
line and so many activities.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was made for college kids for sure. But we thought we were ready to hang out with college kids. We were not ready. We were not prepared. We were like, oh, okay, let's not do that. Well, I ain't know about all that.
Let's not mess around with
I
that.
didn't know y'all was.
Well, thankfully though,
Right.
that you had that mindset to like, okay, we're not going there.
Oh man,
Because I would have went there. Like
You would've tried it?
I went.
yeah, you would have seen what was going on.
I was up in there.
Oh, yeah.
I started going to clubs when I was 14 though.
Really?
Yeah, I was 14
Yeah.
years of age. So
Yeah, they didn't have
I was
much
going to
for
OU
us.
parties at 14.
Yeah.
I was wild.
He's
I was
wild.
wild. Yeah. I
Wilding
was
out there,
So
man.
yeah, we took a road trip to Florida when we were
Yeah.
I was different. But
Yeah.
so here's the thing though. I had a mom, but I was single mom. I mean, my mom was single parent, and but my mom was more like a dad. Like
Yeah.
my friends who had dads, there was like in the home with just dad. Dad, do what you want. It was almost
Right.
like do what you want to do, but I'm gonna beat you or kill
Right,
you if it
right,
crosses this
right.
line, right?
Pretty
My
much.
mom was more like that. Like,
Yeah.
go do what you want to do.
Yeah,
go
go bump
learn.
your head.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, by all means.
Go right ahead. So, your dad passed away. First day of school, you get this major hard transition into life.
Yeah.
But you had been learning things, up until this point. What happens after that?
College, I mean, I studied music for about 2.5 years, and I mean, they didn't really have a program for the kind of music that I wanted to do, so it was really just work. I mean, it was like, singing Italian arias and learning different languages, and I just wasn't really, interested. When I realized, so the next thing, the natural progression of this is you do vocal performance, and then you either go teach music or you go join an opera somewhere. You go throw yourself in this like ultra competitive field to perhaps not get chosen for any auditions. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? I do not want to sing opera. So I finally got a black voice teacher, Donna Cox, and she was like, hey, do you want to do this? I was like, you know what? You're the first person to ask me this. No, don't. She was like, well, then change your major. Like, do what you want to do. Like, do something you want to do. And I was like, well, but the way this scholarship is set up, I got to go ahead and make sure I get it paid for. Mm-hmm. And she was like, all right. So we found some other music programs. It was like a music technology program. And I just did enough of the music work to keep my scholarship for as long as I could. And then I went into journalism. So journalism was what I actually got my degree in. And so, gosh, it was like my dad was a news reporter. And throughout my youth and throughout my adolescence, he was in the newsroom. And so I had built a lot of cool relationships with, all of the Oklahoma, all of the major anchors on all the networks. Like, they've known me since I was like a kid. Mm-hmm. And so getting to study that was cool, and getting to learn kind of the process behind, writing news and writing stories and telling stories really And I got to be the sports anchor for like OU Nightly, and got to read scripts and get my Stuart Scott on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, college was definitely a highlight for me. Just got to meet so many people and hear so many stories,
Yeah.
and just connect with so many good people that I'm still friends with to this day. Just a lot of relationships where I don't have to talk to you very often, but you know, when we catch up, it's a great it's a
money.
great feeling.
Yeah.
So I'd say that was probably, you know, the story of like immediately after college and being an adult. It's kind of how that transpired, and I had the opportunity right out of college to be a songwriter. So I was signed as a songwriter through this smaller label that was run by a good friend of mine. His name is Young Fire. He's a producer, and so wherever he went, we got to go. And so he ended up getting a production deal with Universal, and so he was like T-Pain's producer for like 3 or 4 years. And so I would get to go to Atlanta. And when I go to Atlanta, I'd stay at Young Fire's house, but I'd take his other car, and I would drive to T-Pain's house, bro, and hit the buzzer. And his security would be like, "What's up?" I'd be like, "Hey, this is Tony. I got a session today." You know, the gate opens, and I drive like a quarter mile down this road, and then there's a giant like mansion. And I'm just like, I'm at T-Pain's house. This is
cool.
wild. And so he had his studio like kind of in his basement.
And what year was this?
Oh, this was like, had to be like 2011,
Oh,
2010, 2011.
So by this time, it's like T-Pain kind of had his early.
This was like,
blow up.
this was like probably the pinnacle of T-Pain's popularity at this point.
Okay.
And so he was preparing another album called Revolver during that time period, but I wasn't writing anything for him. I was just writing songs.
Got you.
So I got to, you know, there was an engineer that his job was just to be there whenever somebody was supposed to be there. And I mean, bro, I'm talking about like giant like arcade, pool tables, like this giant like basement bar. There's like a really cool like pool outside, and like on this random table, there's like a stack of like unopened iPads. And I'm like, what is going on here, man? This is just
different kind of life.
This is insane.
Yeah, it's different kind of life, right?
Yeah. So
would T-Pain be there, or was he ever there?
there was a couple of times where he was. I remember he walked by me. He was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" I was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "You that brother from the Blind Side, ain't you?" I was like, "What?" He's like, "No, I'm just playing with you." I was like, "All right, man." He's like, "Good to meet you." So he was just really. He always had like kind of like vibrant, goofy energy about him.
Yeah.
And so I got to meet him like one time, and there were a couple of times where he hosted events that we were there for.
Gotcha.
And so it was just surreal, man. It was just like,
Did you love Atlanta?
Atlanta was big at the time, like super. I mean, it's still big, but for me, it was the first place that like never ended. Like it feels like Atlanta never ends.
Yeah.
You get in the airport, you driving, Atlanta's still happening. You 20 miles out, Atlanta is still full on blast. You get all the way, 40 miles out, and you just now getting to where it's not quite Atlanta anymore. And I was just like, this place is huge.
Yeah. Atlanta's amazing. Just all the corporations that are there.
Yeah.
Just we started going there in the early '90s when like Freaknik and all these different kind of things were still in existence, and then my family would go. We still go there probably once a year or whatever. But it's just a real cool city. Like I would never live there, but
it's cool.
Yeah, it's a really great
people.
city.
People in Oklahoma like to hate on Waffle House, and I get it why they do, but I'm like, you've never been to a Waffle House in Georgia.
Where you would, it's the thing, like
in Marietta or man, I'm like, oh, this is what they talking about.
For sure. So from that experience, what did you walk away with that you feel like has kind of helped move you forward? Was there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I would say just knowing how to be in spaces and you're not the focal point. Like, I mean, I'm in the studio with with working with Fire. Like, I mean, it's the number of people that he's done tracks for. Like, it's been important for me to know what my role is and to execute that role in a professional way. So I've had experiences that are unique to me without having to like go be immersed in a different city or a different culture, a different space.
Yeah.
So I've been able to utilize what I know about, certain things like studio sessions or songwriting, or just being able to be even keel about processes. So I can know the difference between a really, really good opportunity and something that just sounds like a good opportunity. And I've got just a wealth of understanding, from just like being a fly on the wall and hearing stories and watching stuff play out. And so I've been the beneficiary of really just being like I am, like being a fly on the wall and observing and figuring out what's going on around me and asking questions when the time is appropriate. And so, man, that's been something that's invaluable. I carry that with me now as I handle business and as I work on things, and it just makes it so much easier to have a solid perspective on what's actually happening and just not to get too emotional one way or the other about, wins and losses, things that materialize, things that don't materialize. I'm just like, all right, well, what's next?
Yeah.
What do we got going on next?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
being in Atlanta and kind of experiencing that and understanding the work that you do now, like to go from that place that never ends, all this energy, all these creative minds, you would think endless opportunities to come back to Oklahoma. Yeah. Like, was that hard for you? And then do you still have that, like, I know what it's like in Atlanta kind of attitude sometimes?
Well, Oklahoma is just a different market. Atlanta, the people in Atlanta, they understand the environment. They understand how to, they understand what type of culture they have that's unique to the world, and they celebrate it. There's a lot more, there's a lot better understanding of the structure of their market. People can mobilize and they can get things done. There are some mega voices like, of all different types, like musical voices, political voices. Just athletes, corporate. Yeah. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
They all know.
It's all there.
They all know what their power is, and they understand what type of influence they can have on that culture. I would say the culture in Oklahoma is a lot more just narrow, simply because there's a lot less people. There are a lot less things that take place in this particular part of the country that just aren't, relative. You're not in proximity to the same kinds of places, the same types of things. So just a perspective on what music is or what professional recording is, a lot of people just haven't experienced that in the same way. So I feel like a lot of people that I'm friends with, they begrudgingly go elsewhere and they say, well, Oklahoma doesn't have it, so I got to go to, got to go here, got to go there, got to go everywhere.
Got to go LA, got to go Dallas.
But I look at it and I'm like, man, this is like a empty, barren land.
Yeah.
Where we can come create that. We can make that happen here. There's nothing unique about what goes on in Atlanta that we couldn't make happen in Oklahoma. It's just a matter of building the infrastructure. It's a matter of really training the culture or getting influence from other places. Like when the Thunder came, we didn't know how to be an NBA city, but we figured it out.
Yeah.
We jumped on board and we learned how to make that happen. And so I just look at Oklahoma and I see all this opportunity to do that. And a lot of companies, places, brands, they're seeing that and they're coming to Oklahoma to really stretch because there's room.
Yeah.
And they're really trying to figure out how to make stuff happen. So that's where I'm at. That's why it's important to me to stay planted here. I mean, I can go anywhere and do anything, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to relocate unless my relocation is more impactful, for the east side of Oklahoma City than it would be for me to be, like I think about athletes who benefit from playing college, out of state.
Yeah.
They just go and they dig in to the college like atmosphere and they dig into their craft or they play good ball, and then they go to the league, and then they bring the resources back to the city. And you've seen countless times where athletes they stay too close, and there's too many of the same influences, too many of the same people trying to figure out how to be a part of it that don't need to be. So outside of that, though, like this is where I want to be, and I genuinely see so much development, so much growth happening in Oklahoma, and it's beautiful to just watch the seeds get planted, and to really just be part of, the group of individuals that are helping water those seeds. Man, it's just insane to see the prospects and to see stuff happen and people come and know what's going to happen before everybody else does.
No, that's man. Cool. That's cool. Now, journalism was your degree.
Mm-hmm.
Currently not doing journalism.
Not professionally,
but do you so you've taken that and kind of have molded it in a way that's probably not traditionally journalism, right?
Right. I had the opportunity after college and after that experience to work for a few companies and do a lot of different things. I mean, I've done branding, I've done PR, I've done marketing, I've done, social media. And so now, like, I've just taken all those nuggets of experience and I've applied them in my role with what I do at GroupFly for GroupFly Creative. And also for ways that I do my own branding. So you'll see a lot of those things just kind of be attracted to one another and turn into something that's super unique. And I love being like the first person to think about things in a way that I think about it, and to watch people get excited about that, and to see that there's a need for it, and to feel the responsibility to say, well, if I don't do it, nobody else will.
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to make it happen. And so that's just kind of like where the lane is for me. And I'm just being able to experience so many different challenges, and I'm just like, great. Like, this is cool. This is a cool new challenge.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool.
Man.
Now, go in as being consistent and doing the right things, right, that allow for you to achieve the wins that you've defined for your life so that you can live out your greatest story. Is there a particular win, and I didn't prep you for this, but
sure.
Is there a win that you've defined for yourself and you can share with me just real quick, maybe one or two things you like? Because of these two things, me doing them consistently, I achieved this win.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's an incredible question. And I mean, like, truth be told, I've always had a lot of, I've been observant. So I've always had a lot of head knowledge, and being able to experience things has allowed me to put together some pretty good assessments of how to work things out. But I would say my biggest win was when I remember there was one point where I was working at a car lot, man. I was working 60 hours a week, sweating it out, man, really just having a really like hard time with life. I just felt like I just didn't have enough time to to catch up with family. I was just working so hard. And I just remember, man, I started going to counseling. I started seeing a counselor, and man, I quit that job and decided to do what I thought was going to be just music full time. And everybody's like, "Are you crazy? Like, you can't just drop everything and just go after something. How you going to pay your bills? How you going to do this?" And man, being obedient in that season has been so rewarding, because like time and time again, like out of no way I could have done it myself. And it's not even just provision, it's inspiration, it's purpose, it's like guidance. All of those things have just come naturally to me when I've just been willing to face whatever opportunities each day gives me. I think before I had just been so focused on, the future. This is my goal. Got to go reach the goal.
Yeah.
And I really felt the Holy Spirit tell me, "Hey man, just follow me."
Yeah.
Stop trying to, lead the way, lead me into your vision. It doesn't work that way. I've got plans for you. I've got things that I need for you to do.
Yeah.
You know, that vision in you that says you have to do it or no one else will. Yeah. Well, I put that in you for a purpose. Now you need to follow me so you can achieve that purpose. And that has been the win. That has been the signature win. Because everything else that has followed it, man, has been, I mean, I look at my life, 12 months ago, 24 months ago, and I couldn't have put that goal on a dry erase board.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said, I want to be achieving this goal by this date. I mean, the things that I'm doing now, the things that I had access to now, they would have seemed unattainable.
Yeah.
If I were to be able to, call myself from sitting right here, right? And then 2018 me answers the phone and I'm like, hey, Tony, guess what, man? He'd be like, what? I'd be like, man, look, in 2021, this is what's about to be happening. You're about to be doing this. These are the conversations you're going to be having. This is what you're going to be talking about. This is who you're going to be with. This, and I'd be like, click.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But like, man, it's been incredible to see so many things just connect themselves.
That's good.
And I don't have to do the work on that end. I'm just obedient.
Yeah.
And I'm patient.
Yeah.
And whatever he gives me is what I have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
so.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about wins, you have a project that you're pretty excited about.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that project?
Yeah, where do I even begin? So there's a project called Fire in Little Africa that will release on May 28th. Mark your calendar for May 28th if this hasn't already, if it hasn't dropped before this podcast drops, which I think you said that this will be
next week.
Beautiful. Yeah. So May 28th, there is an album dropping called Fire in Little Africa. That album is being produced by the Woody Guthrie Center out of Tulsa, and it has been licensed officially by Motown Records. So Motown Records is in conjunction with Woody Guthrie Center to create the album, which we recorded a year ago. We recorded it March of 2020, and
right in the midst of COVID, the beginning of COVID.
Man, the weekend was Thursday to Tuesday. The Wednesday before we left was when the Jazz came and shut the city down. So everybody was like, man, should we still go, man? So Fire in Little Africa almost didn't happen, but it happened, and about 60 artists came, and they set up all these remote studios in the Greenwood Cultural Center, and in the what is called Skyline Mansion, but it used to be called the Brady Mansion. I think Tate Brady was his name. He was one of the main instigators of the Tulsa Race Massacre.
Oh, wow.
Felix Jones, NFL running back for the Cowboys from Tulsa, bought that mansion and turned it into what is now called the Skyline Mansion. And we recorded songs all throughout that mansion on a Saturday night. And so, man, throughout that weekend, about 140 or so songs. Yeah. They turned it into
140.
We made something like I think what I heard was 140 plus.
140 plus. Is this like the instrument, like music, lyrics, all this?
All of us all together. We wrote that many songs together.
Wow.
And so they had to narrow it down to, I think the track list is like 21 songs.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't even know how they did that.
Yeah.
But your boy appears in about 3 of them. So
come on. 3 of the 21?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah. I don't even know how many songs I put things on. I might have written to about 10 or 11 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're performing a live show on the 24th, which if that's next week, that might be today. If you're listening to this, it might be tomorrow. It'll be a live show in Oklahoma City at the
April 24th.
Uh-huh.
But the album don't come out until May.
Right.
Okay.
So this will be the premiere of the album.
Okay.
It's going to be at the Oklahoma Contemporary Arts Museum, which is in Automobile Alley in Oklahoma City. Tickets and everything are already sold out, man. They sold out within
What?
I want to say like 5 or 6 hours.
Who put this together?
The Woody Guthrie Center did, and they're doing it with a few other sponsors in OKC.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, they released the link, and they were like, "There's VIP tickets for sale, and everything else is free, but you have to reserve the tickets." They came and got them all.
Wow, that's legit. Now, how many tickets is that? Like,
I have no idea. Yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's on like their north line. I'll have to double check the flyer. And I went and scoped out the space because I haven't been to that museum yet. I've only seen it. And
I'm trying to imagine where on Automobile Alley. Yeah. That's Broadway, right?
Mm-hmm. So right across from where there's like they've rebuilt this. What looked like it used to be a parking garage, but it's offices now. And there's a restaurant called like Jimmy B's, and then the Tesla thing there's like a Tesla service place on. You must have been to the alley in a minute.
I have not.
But it's slightly north. It's in between 13th and 10th.
Got you. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay, that's what was going to be my next question. Is it what was that, north of 10th or south of 10th? Right. So it's north of 10th.
It's north on the east side of the street.
Yes. Yeah, they built a couple of new. Yep. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now. Okay.
And it looks awesome from the outside.
No, it looks really cool. Yeah. I was wondering what they were, what it was.
Yep.
And so, okay.
That's what it is.
That's good. I might have to figure out who I need to call or greet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly. See what I'm saying?
You, man. Yeah, I got you. I think JB is hosting.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be hosting it, and I can get you in contact with the Fila people, man. They love to let you do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be real cool. So, that's the 24th. I'm trying to think. Am I booked on the 24th? I'm just looking because I'm gonna make this happen.
16th is tomorrow. Yeah, 24th be a Saturday.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I think I'm good as long as we don't have no tennis tournament. I got a men's break. Yeah, I might have to go on and show up at that.
Yeah, go ahead and pull up, man.
Yeah, I might have to figure out how to get there. That's cool, man. So that's 24th. First, well, there's a Instagram and stuff because I've seen a little bit of the action.
They've been they've had a website ever since the recording session. They've been doing a weekly podcast. They got a couple of podcasts at this point. They've got a merch line with, hats, hoodies, the whole nine. And they've been doing live shows featuring some of the artists, like 2 or 3 artists at a time. Mm-hmm. They do something called Fire Fridays. So they've been kind of building, kind of an infrastructure to where once people get their hands on this album and get to hear it for the first time, there's going to be a lot for people to discover. So, I mean, gosh, man, like the album, the music is insane. The production is incredible, and this really, really has the workings of, like a industry, like market defining event. I mean, we've talked about, Atlanta. We talked about how Atlanta grew as a hip hop space after Source Awards. Andre 3000 gets up there and says, "Hey, the South got something to say." You know what I'm saying? And that's when, CeeLo Green. Okay, Dungeon Family. Oh, okay, wow, they really out here getting it. And they collaborated and had so many projects together. And now we look back at that and it's legendary. Yeah. Same with like LA hip hop, man, like Rodney King, sparked NWA, man, telling everybody F the police. And that was the move in LA and a whole culture. I mean, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Dr. Dre. You think about what's come from Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem. I mean, you name it. Like that event in time sparked like a cultural event. And this is another one of those things. I mean, we're talking about a story that Oklahoma has literally locked in the safe and refuses to pull out and tell the real truth about. And you want to talk about, ancestors, just descendants of the people that were in the massacre, that lost their lives and that had to flee and that had to relocate or that did their best to stay in that community, but were terrorized for decades and forced to be silent about what they knew. I mean, a bunch of us young you know, hip hop and rap and R&B guys are about to pop the lid off and tell some true stories that the world has yet to hear. And that's going to be dynamic.
Which is coming at an incredible time because I feel like more and more people are gradually leaning into the history of that. And then it's the 100th.
Yeah, the 100 year anniversary. We'll release the album 2 days prior to the date, the exact date. And so, man,
was that intentional?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
Dr. View, his name is my boy Stevie. His name is Dr. View. He's been planning this, man. He was my DJ whenever I was doing gigs in the city. I want to say like summer of 2019, and you know, I got tired of venues being like, "Hey, can you sing for 3 hours?" I'm like, "No, I'll sing for 45 minutes because that's about as much as any normal person should sing, and I'll have a DJ play." And they were like, "All right." So I call View up and he's DJing with me. And man, one time after one of these shows in Film Row, he was like, "Man, I got this idea, man." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "I'm gonna send you this video." And he sent me the video, and it was like J. Cole had done this like camp with his entire label, all the artists on his label, and they stayed in Atlanta, and you know, they rented out like Tree Sound Studios and a couple other ones, and they invited people in. And they did an album. I think they did two, but they did an album called Revenge of the Dreamers, and they did a documentary. So he's like, "I want to do that." And I was like, "Okay, count me in." He's like, "But check it out, though." I was like, "What's up?" "I'm going to do it for the 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, wow." And just to watch that vision go from him telling me about an idea to now, like, Motown has picked up the project and we're about to go global at the end of May, is just like, you know, you can't tell me that anything, you know, you can't tell me that anything is impossible. Like, I feel like anything is possible. Yeah. And I'm just like proud to be a part of it, proud to be
anything's possible if you put in the work.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, yeah.
And I mean, and if you have the vision, to me, if you have the vision, if you're obedient, I mean, you know, that is the work. Yeah. Being obedient is the work. Yeah. I mean, and from there, you know, there's no limit. Yeah. Just like, I watched him, you know, tell me what he wanted to do and really draw it out, and just getting to communicate with him every step along the way, and just watching it unfold has just been beautiful, man. That's good.
So somebody who's not into music, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not into hip hop. They may not really understand why we should be excited about this album. Can you talk to those people? Like, hey, if you've never gotten excited about something, this is the one.
Imagine if, like, man, I'm trying to think of some really famous, like, cliques, like rap groups, like Dungeon Family, like Nelly and the Saint Lunatics, like all of those Houston cats, like Bun B, Pimp C, and that whole like crew. Like, imagine knowing about them before they really hit mainstream. Like, and imagine if, you know, all those guys from that same area put together a project that you could listen to. I think what we're going to find is that there are a lot of industry-ready artists in Oklahoma, and they're going to take off. And with Fire in Little Africa, you will be able to witness the genesis of, you know, that collective growing, that group of artists really sharing their honest truth, but also it'll be commemorative in the way that this will be the first time anybody is on a massive scale telling the story of the Tulsa Race Massacre from where it happened at. Like, we wrote those songs at the Cultural Center. There's a monument outside with the names of all the businesses that got destroyed.
That's incredible.
And there's just the inspiration of what we were doing there. It was just, you know, it permeated through us. It was just like, you could feel it. You could feel something. Yeah. With every room that we were creating in, and it was all on purpose, and it was magic, man. It was like nothing I've ever experienced.
And it was all documented, right?
Oh yeah. There'll be a documentary that they'll drop. I don't know the dates on that, but yeah. So I mean,
it'll be a documentary of the filming.
Right. It'll be a documentary.
Of the recording of the project.
Of the recording session.
So that's cool. You know, another thing that it reminds me of these people are all famous, but people coming together for a particular cause or to promote something that they believe in as we are the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you all may not all be Michael Jackson
Right.
and all these people who had blown up, but these people came together and spent time together
Yeah.
to create something to say, you know what, we want the world to
Yeah.
identify with this and understand this.
For sure.
And when I hear this, y'all aren't these people at this status,
Yeah.
but you're people who have a heart and want to tell a story
Right.
to get something out there,
Yeah.
which is awesome and legit.
And also, I mean, the real part of it is that the state of Oklahoma has a lot of gatekeepers. There are a lot of people that, in order to get a message out, it has to go through certain channels, or else it might not go very far. You might have to work your way around it. It may take a long time to materialize. But with this, gosh, like I just feel like, Motown, Detroit, Hitsville, USA, the spirit of Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
And they just grabbed this project and lifted it up out of Oklahoma past all of the people who would try to stop it.
Yeah.
And they're just going to give it. They're just
Yeah.
going to give it to the whole world.
Yeah.
We about to give it to them too, bro.
That's legit. No, that's really legit.
About to really give it to them.
That's really good. Well, I'm excited about it, man. Tell me this: when did you fall in love with hip hop? If that's is that a fair question?
For sure.
What happened?
I mean, I grew up on the north side, and all of my cousins grew up on the east side, so they got to listen to they I don't know, man. They seem to know all the songs. When I would come over to my auntie's house on Sundays, they knew all the songs. I didn't know none of the songs. I'm like, how am I missing out on all the music, man? So when I was a teenager, I tapped into more stuff that I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling that, I'm kind of understanding the vibe, and I'm kind of feeling like this, this kind of stuff really resonates with me. And one of the first albums was Kanye West, Late Registration.
Okay.
And the Dropout, high school dropout, or college dropout, not high school dropout, college dropout. Those songs, man, I just can remember me and my boy Jordan riding around in his 89 Buick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With the loose seats, with the buckle that had the metal clasp.
Yeah.
That clack clack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, just riding around bumping that Kanye album, and then shortly, in that time frame, kind of in before and after, Outkast had done a lot, man. And Andre 3000, man, he was such a lyricist, but so musical, like such a musician. And I just remember identifying with that vibe, and that was just kind of what I wanted to hear. But then, like, Drake dropped, and he was singing and rapping at the same time, and it was like, wait a minute, is he really singing or is he kind of singing? Wait, we don't know how to handle this. We don't know what's going on. And so now they call it melodic rap, and that's like a whole genre now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a genre.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can get a melodic rap Grammy now.
Get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
So does the song have to be completely whatever that is?
I don't know the details yet.
You got to see
I'm
one
gonna
give it
have
out.
to
Did I
see
tell you?
what's going on.
Did I tell you? Okay. Yeah. So is Drake and Kanye in your top 10?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you see on Facebook we were talking about top 10?
Yeah, I saw that. And I started to comment, but I was like, man, I'm not really a hip hop head like that. Like, I'm not willing to go to bat for what number somebody's at.
Like,
so
is that serious for you, huh?
I
think that's serious. That's more serious than us doing it.
Right.
Like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna take
let me not. Because then somebody be like, man, how you gonna put Reasonable Doubt over? I'm like, the Black Album? Come on, man, what, the Black Album? Are you kidding me? Jay-Z is the GOAT. I'm like,
they
okay.
were doing that, and then
All
you got
right.
people who, which I don't understand, people who made their top 10 rock albums. Like, take all them off and let's put 10. Like, I'm like, okay.
Hall and Oates.
Yeah, somebody made a top 10 gospel. People just be going there on social media. I love it. I just love it. So, some people messaged me because they didn't want people to see who they're.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was just worried,
somebody.
man.
Yeah, they was worried.
you know.
I'm like, come on, it ain't that serious,
Hey, man, don't
folks.
tell nobody, but
Yeah,
know
I don't even listen to rap right now in my life, but I still had a
don't
top
tell
10.
nobody. But 3 6 Mafia is like my number 2.
Yeah, they're serious like you.
Juicy J is that guy. You don't know, but Juicy J, he
know
owns
nothing
a
about
barbecue
Juicy.
restaurant.
You don't know nothing about Juicy J,
Bro, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, I met him, man. I was at a show in Phoenix. All right, man. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. It's okay. It's okay. It's not life or death. Yeah. So, man, tell people how they can find you, man.
Man, Tony Foster Jr., man. I try to be very intentional about making sure that everything's in one place. So if you Google Tony Foster Jr., the first several results be my Instagram, my Facebook, a few totally irrelevant videos that are on YouTube, but they're there. So you can get on there and
come on,
get see some stuff. And then the website is tfjbrand.com. So it has the music, but it also is kind of a one-stop hub for everything that is me. So the music catalog, the merch, the calendar, ways that you can, be a part, are all on tfjbrand.com.
That's legit, man.
Yeah, man.
Man, I appreciate you making your trip to the great Guthrie, America.
Yeah, man. I think across the street, man, I think I got a superintendent's award of excellence at this building right here.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me and some lady.
He's pointing to the Masonic Temple. If you
yeah.
So the Masonic Temple I live. Now people don't know where I live at.
I got to cut that.
Like I'm famous something that people.
He live at 2918.
Come get him and his family. Come get him and his family. The Masonic Temple, which is one of those buildings like you have people be like, man, for real, and then you have people like, man, that building's incredible. Like if you go inside, like if you can appreciate architect and all that stuff.
That's what made it memorable to me. Is being in there, I was like, wow, this is pretty incredible. Yeah,
it's incredible. Like if you built something like that today, can you imagine
the cost,
the money? So. Yeah, no, it's cool.
They don't make them like that no more.
They don't make them like that no more. They definitely don't. Even though people make more money now, they don't make stuff like that. Concrete now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the price of it? Yeah, it's amazing. So, no. Thank you. The wife is in the room, y'all. Jackie is in the room chilling.
Yes, she is.
The manager.
Looking good.
The manager. Thank y'all both so much, and I deeply appreciate y'all coming. And so, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the Hetty Coleman Podcast. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go win.